Hey, Frisch.
Hey, I'm way behind. I was even expecting to come by, but I was sick all this week, so I wasn't going to go to that meetup.
Oh yeah. Oh, no worries. Um, yeah. Where is my preview? There we go. See. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. Yeah. So talking about chapter 6, we this is a good chapter because it kind of helps. Well, yeah, this goes over inheritances and some good and bad things about it. Actually, I think she just goes over the good. She talks about the bad later, but yeah. So let's go right to our bike example. So with inheritances, it makes it easier to, rather than create, let's say she later creates a road bike and a mountain bike. Instead of repeating a lot of code and creating these different types of bikes, she creates a bicycle class, which is here. So you've got your attributes lined up here. She's got spares, which she uses a method of passing. Like it's a hash, but she passes in the different spares as a hash, which she goes into later. The reason why. Here, let's see. Oh, so she passes in the hash, so that way you can have like different styles. So if you had a road bike, then the hash would have these attributes. But if it's anything else, the difference would be the tire size would be quite different, and it's actually in inches here. And you got 23 millimeters here. So using the hash, you can still have the same sort of keys. So if you wanted to do bike.tire size, then you'll be able to pull out. You'll be able to find out what the tire size of the bike without needing to actually know if it's a road bike or mountain bike, which is great. But still, this code's kind of not as great. So, and she goes into some other reasons why you would do inheritance here. So then here's her mountain bike. So she's actually is pretty familiar, I guess, with all the basic Ruby courses. They get inherited object-oriented programming and inheritance usually pretty quickly. And so here, do you guys know about Super at all? Have you seen it?
Yes.
Used it?
I haven't used it, but I first, I probably am the most familiar with it through this book.
Okay, yeah. I was able to actually use it in live code, and at my last job, we had different. We had split up. So my last job, we could tweet through the app, and you were able to do different types of tweets. So the two different types of tweet was either a photo tweet or just a regular tweet, which we call a status update. And some code was inherited so we had like a Twitter object, and then we split out the inheritances, which turned out to actually not be a good idea. She'll go into that in chapter 8, which actually made it not a good idea. So I won't go into detail now, but we inherited from the Twitter object all these different methods into the photo object and then the status update. And I actually use Super to do that, to do a lot of some of those methods. So basically what Super does, it pulls in the hash that we saw up here. So it pulls in this hash. It's not a road bike, so if it's a mountain bike, it pulls all this information in. But in addition to having what comes from the parent class, which is what the super call is, it merges in this hash. So not only do you get all the objects that happened from bicycle, you then get add rear shock. So it's just a nifty way of not repeating code and keeping stuff cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I made a note to myself. Basically, invokes the initialize method of the super class.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, super is cool. It's I forgot what the opposite of super is if you go the other way, but Yeah, not really that important at the moment. Super. Yeah, it's a nice little trick to have in your back pocket for refactoring. I've only used it once in actual code because I found once you get to chapter 8, you realize that inheritance isn't always the best option, though it is the easiest option. The other option is actually composition.
Right.
And, but yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I get a little confused with that.
Brian, just to kind of play out that thought a little bit more, you were talking about the opposite of super. And, I may not fully understand what super does, but, for instance, on page 115, if you've got mountain bike that you're inheriting, basically mountain bike is a subclass of bicycle, right? You inherit bicycle or mountain bike through bicycle.
Yeah.
And so if you call initialize in the mountain bike, then it will use just the initialize method of the mountain bike. However, if you wanted to go up to the initialize in the bicycle, that's when you'd use the super, right? But now that I'm looking at it, I guess it doesn't necessarily mean that you're using initialize. Okay, so I'm trying to come up with a good example here. Let's say you've got bicycle and mountain bike, right? And if you've got two methods, the exact same name in bicycle and mountain bike,
yeah,
and if you're creating a new instance of mountain bike with that method, it's going to use that. But if you put the super in that method, then it's going to call to the master class, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so really, you can use that with any method. It's not just initialize. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
And so here's the other thing too. So if you did not put anything in the spares method, let's say you deleted this method, you would still be able to call mountain bike.spares, and you would still get all the spares from the bicycle. But the only reason to do super is because you have to call merge. So if you want to add the rear shock in there, you have to merge it into something. So super just gives you the option to merge rear shock into the spares that are already there for you.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Makes perfect sense. Okay.
But yeah. Bicycle, you inherit every single method. So no matter what's in there, you have access to it.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. And she goes into more detail in the subclassing, and also adds in road bike, and so the initialize methods. So everything, all the attributes, which you would use like attribute accessor if you wanted, you could. She passes in to her. She kind of has like argue class here. Here you go, yeah. So you can kind of pass in as many arguments as you want. So if you had a new attribute, you could just add a new attribute, which you could have did shocks if you wanted to here. No, actually, you already have shocks. So like gears, if you want to add gears, you just add gears to the attribute reader, so you can have access to it, and then you can just set it up in here. But yeah, as a hash. And yeah, then finally, there's like managing coupling between objects, which is all the way at the end. Oh, she also has some defaults in the bicycle class. So I guess just in case so this OR method, basically, if you don't pass in chain, this will set up a chain speed for you, or a size of the chain for you. So that's kind of a nifty way to clean up the code. If you don't want to have to go around through every inherited class and pass in a default, that's another way you could do it. And what else? Yeah, I found this section to be pretty straightforward. I think even the first time I read through this, it was pretty straightforward, just because I think with like going through RubyMonk and some basic Ruby tutorials, like even Codecademy throws you right into inheritances right away. Because I think one of the best claim to fame for Ruby is its object-oriented programming. efforts and how different it is from, I think JavaScript now has a little more object-oriented nifty things you can do in it. With ECMAScript 6,
Hmm.
it's a lot easier to understand object-oriented programming. Before you had to do like prototyping, and it was like it was way different that way. But yeah, this is uh, I think Ruby it's nice. It's a nice language to start with, especially learning these object-oriented programming and these concepts. It's just kind of laid out very nicely. And yep, yeah, she just go through some more details. Where's the aha? I can't remember if that's about it. So Jeff, did you go through this chapter this week?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of, I read through my notes, kind of more of a light skim, but yeah, I did go through it.
Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, this was pretty straightforward just because I think I've covered it in so many other places. I think the challenge for me is composition, just because you don't really learn about it much out there. Or at least that's been my experience.
Yeah, it's kind of like the next step.
Mm-hmm.
Like inheritance it's taught it's more of a beginner level part of Ruby, and it's taught so frequently that usually like I even find myself I'll go through inheritance first.
Yep.
And usually it usually comes to someone else saying, "Hey, why didn't you do it with composition?" And that's usually pretty much every case when I actually don't do inheritance is when someone mentions something. So hopefully, when we get to chapter 8, I'll be able to learn more of those concepts, so that way I'll be ready to reach for composition rather than inheritance, and rather like normal, I'll just have to refactor a lot if I get stuck in an inheritance. Which is another reason why inheritance is it's kind of frowned upon as far as if you go to it every single time, because your code everything's inherited. So that's example, everything's inherited from Bicycle. So every time there's a change in the Bicycle class, you have to make sure you're not breaking some expectations, like mountain bikes and road bikes. So like those examples are fine, but when you start getting like multiple bikes and multiple like different types of bikes, then you start getting into like different like weird things where you just you can't break what's happening to all the child classes is what they're called. You don't want to break anything in the child classes, but yet you want to keep updating the bike class to make sure it's up to date with new things. So I guess the bikes are a very good example of getting stuck into that problem, but I think she has a better example towards the end.
Yep. Composition, if I remember.
Yeah. Cool. So, did you want to dig into some more of this testing and trying to basically we just the belongs to making sure that for the bacon rating, making sure that movies have many actors, and actors have many movies. I think that was probably the next part of the testing, but I'll show you what I did so far.
Okay.
Let me share my screen again. So at the moment, actually, this is the right code. All right. So at the moment, I have one failing test, but oops, RSpec. Actually, let me run all the tests. This should show. Looks like I actually have two failing tests. Didn't realize that. So that's my shoulda matcher. I could not figure out how it works. And then there's in the stars spec. Looks like there's an undefined method star on movie that stars. Oh, okay. Oh, I know what's happening there. So that test actually is not passing. I think I changed these to. I'm not sure if they were expect tests before,
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I
so
think that's what I used.
okay, yeah. So I moved the movie out of, I think it was like in here. I moved it
Okay,
actually in Silhouette,
sounds good. Hmm.
and then that way you can expect movie to be valid, which passes. But then when you have movie that stars, um, looks like describe movie should have many movies. Um, Probably should say have many stars. This is more of our relations that we have now. I should read like that. So I guess to kind of architect this test, this is where I started making these factories because I'm
Hmm.
thinking we'll probably have to create a factory for a star,
Hmm.
actually probably multiple stars, and then that way this test will pass. So now I was actually looking up to see how to set up your factories. Actually, I'll just create the factory in the test for now. So that way I don't get confused. So we'll have a star called Julia. Factory girl. Factory. Yeah. And star has a first name, last name, birth date, and birthplace. Cool. So first name, actually, how are we gonna do this? So I'm gonna have to do star factory. Yeah, it's where I always get hung up on because I usually never have to set up new projects.
Hmm.
Actually, I very rarely set up new projects as of late. Seems like I just keep working on existing projects.
Hmm.
So we'll have to set up our factory. So I think we do um, Julia. Then I think if we do like this, I don't think we need that last name. Jeff, are you able to look up on your computer see if I'm actually
Yep,
getting
I'm looking. I think I wrote
feedback?
down this stuff somewhere. It's been a while since I've used factories, but yeah, I'm looking. Did I write them down? Okay, I'll just look it up. All right.
Trish, are you following along? 1950.
Sorry, I'm muted.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm following along. I'm looking at this. I haven't done much testing. Let
Yeah.
me take that back. I just started Ruby Cones because
That's a good
that's
one.
basically all testing maybe 2 days ago.
Okay.
So I'm watching, and it's weird because I actually have the screen on another monitor. So I'm always
Okay.
in my head. I have two monitors set up, so if it looks like my head's always turned away.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, so Brian, it looks like, let me see what you've got for code there, Julia. Okay, so factory girl dot define do, and then you would do factory Julia do. But I think what that actually is going to be is star, so factory star do.
Okay. Is it factory dot star?
Note factory space
Colon
colon
star?
star, and then yes, and then after star there's a do, and then yeah. So let me check that. That looks right. Yes. Yep.
Okay. So I can create.
Isn't it Julia Roberts, not Robert?
Yeah. Yeah. Good catch.
Hmm.
Oh. Then I would only have to do.
And then Julia equals, and then there is a shortcut, so like a short syntax, so you can actually leave the factory girl out, and I think it's just create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that to. Oops, I'm running the wrong file. Where's Julia? So I don't think I need the colons. It looks like.
Let's see. Factory. I'm checking just a sec here. Yes, that's right. You do not need the colon. Yep.
Cool. All right. So that should run undefined method stars. Okay, so stars, I see why this is. So this is not working because, well, for two reasons. That's failing because movies has no idea about stars.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I can fix that. So we want as many stars like that, and then I could run the test again, but it's still going to fail, which I know why. Unexpected had multiple counts. So it looks like it doesn't respond to has multiple counts that. So I'm going to rewrite this test a little. Rather than have multiple counts, we'll just say movie that stars, and I'll just say include Julia.
Okay.
That way that we know, rather than, because it could say anything, but we're not sure if it's Julia's in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so column stars.movie.id does not work because stars has no idea about movies.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we'll do has movies.
So Brian, real quick, you've
Yeah.
basically done a many-to-many relationship here.
Yeah.
So now why, like in the past, I feel like I've always used like a has many through. Why are we able to not use that now?
Because I guess we probably should be using that.
Uh-huh.
I thought
But for the
you only use through if you have a table in the middle that's managing the two.
yeah, the join table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you
So
have a table? Because I'm a little out of the loop. I haven't, like I said, I missed last week.
no, we haven't created a join table yet. So I wonder if we should or should we continue to play dumb of the join table at the moment?
I guess,
And
yeah, in the spirit of TDD style, right? I guess just one little change at a time. So we get.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because that might be one step ahead of where we're trying to get.
Okay.
So let's look at this error. undefined column stars.movie ID does not exist.
Oh, rake db migrate? Should we not do?
That shouldn't be an
I guess,
issue.
yeah, because we haven't really
Like,
changed, or yeah, that's true. We haven't made any migrations yet. Okay, never mind.
active further. What are we looking to do?
Undefined column star. But that's the thing. Like in the stars, you have to have a movie ID, wouldn't
Yeah,
you? In the
you would.
yeah.
So,
You would need the foreign key set up.
Yep. Exactly.
yeah. So, I am at a loss of how to set up.
The foreign key, you would do a migration, and you would do add to. Are we doing stars to movies or movies
Yeah.
to stars?
We're going to do both. So I wonder is there a migration to do both at the same time?
You would have to handwrite it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends how you word it.
So let's see, migration. Add stars to movies.
You need the underscore. Or yeah, we could do it that way too.
And do we pass in add user as a task?
You don't have to do it belongs to.
Yeah.
Like you would do movie ID or star ID for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Hold on. Shouldn't it be an integer, not a string right there?
I think it would work both ways. Is it?
Oh yeah, I think it should be integer for ID.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I spent the night at a Holiday Inn Express, so you can ignore me.
Yep. Cool. Now let's see if the test does anything. All right. Expected movie with stars include that.
You might have to manually add a movie ID because you created that afterwards.
Yeah. So what I know exactly what we'll do. Like one of those.
Tell you the truth, this is the first time I've really felt useful on any of these.
Well, I'm glad you made it. All right.
No, I mean, just learning-wise. It was like the other day, I looked at Ruby Cones like 4 or 5 months ago. And it's like, what the heck is this stuff? And then yesterday I went through like the first 30 tests, and I go, this is insane. Didn't expect it to come out, that I was able to do it yet.
Yeah. All right. So I'm creating a star, but with this little curly braces, I'm also adding a movie idea at the
Okay,
end.
got it. Yeah, cool.
And my syntax is a little off. What am I doing?
Wouldn't the movie ID be a number, or am I? Because I don't know factory girl.
Yeah, because let's see, Brian, we don't have movie define. Oh yeah, no, never mind, we do. It's in the
Yeah, we have
lens.
a movie up here.
Okay, yeah.
So I want to try to add that movie
Yep.
in addition to creation. So that
Yep.
should
I agree. That should work.
that won't work. 'Cause we need to record.
Profile user. Hmm.
Unexpected that. So why can I do a? I'm not really liking my colons tonight. Um,
So it's still airing out on okay.
that should work, but for the sake of
Hey Brian, what if you let's see, what was that code again? If you do well, okay, never mind, you've already changed it, all right?
yeah, I just want to see if this works.
Yeah.
No, not liking my pry.
So if you let's see, create star.
Wow. Okay. Um,
Hey Brian, if you so I forgot what you had before, but were you trying to start this on line 12? Like when you created this star, could you
yeah.
add the movie there? Is that what you were doing before? I forget.
I was creating the star, but then
Uh-huh.
I was also adding the movie idea after it.
Okay, so that's right. So if you do that, like star, comma, and then do your what you were doing before. Yeah, but maybe take out the parentheses, take out the brackets. Take out the brackets and then put the closing parenthesis, yeah, there after
Uh,
movie ID. Yeah.
yeah, I see what you're talking about. Yep.
All right.
Here we go. Passing test. So we've proven that stars now have movies, or sorry, movies have stars.
Mhm.
Wonder if we should just go ahead and do a movie, which I'm gonna take this movie and put it into the movie factory.
Okay.
Those back factories.
Hey Brian, I was using your. I think you were talking about it last week. The trick where you go capital A to switch
Yeah.
between the spec and the controller.
Yeah.
I used that several times last week, man. I thought of you every time. Thanks for that.
Yeah, awesome. Very nice. Yeah, I love doing that. It's one of the best things about switching the RS back to RSpec from doing
Uh-huh.
mini tests is being
Uh-huh.
able to do that. No, actually, you can do it at mini test,
Okay.
but being able to set up Rails RSpec or no Vim RSpec,
Hmm.
that's nice also because there's nothing like that for mini test. So let's see. Um, so did you use Vim, Jeff?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
long have you been using it?
Probably about almost a year now.
Okay.
So it's I mean I'm not a I don't know. I improve a little bit all the time. I mean, each month I try if I find myself doing something over and over that's taking too much time, um, I'll usually write a note and then try to figure out a better way to do it. So,
Yeah.
over time I've built up a lot of shortcuts, but um, it's a great editor. I'm now more proficient in Vim than I am in like Atom or Sublime.
Yep. Yeah. Surprisingly, only one other guy at work uses Vim.
Oh, is that right? Oh.
Yeah, everybody else is still Sublime.
Hmm.
I
Uh,
was in a mentor meeting, and this guy had iTerm set up with Vim and Tmux. And he had
Yep.
4 windows going, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, okay. And then I
Yeah.
went on Bid Adventures. I said, next day, next day, next day.
Yeah, that's what I'm using now is Tmux, and I love it for split windows and stuff. It's pretty slick.
Yeah, I haven't been able to figure out how to use it or install it to work properly. It's been driving me nuts. Um,
Yeah, if you've looked into any of the Thoughtbot stuff, they've got some really good stuff. In fact, they recently released a series about using Tmux, and that's probably the best resource out there right now.
is that in the subscription section or the open to the public section?
I think it's a must. I think it's in the subscription section.
That's
In
why I
fact,
probably.
if I remember correctly, the Tmux is actually a trail. So
I just ran the test again after
okay.
moving the movie to a factory,
Yep.
and we are good to go there. So
Cool. Yep.
probably just go ahead and do. Actually, probably just take this out too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, I definitely got pretty backed up with some work this past week. I've been thrown to the fire as far as tracking down bugs and doing like actual code at
Hmm.
work. So yeah, my days and nights have pretty much been taken over from work.
Yep.
Nice, but I wasn't expecting it to be so soon. But
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, man. It sounds like you are enjoying where you're at, so it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. We have that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'll see if I can jump in this week, Brian, and maybe send at least one or two PRs your way.
Cool. I forgot what this test was going to be. It should have many stars. Should should have a movie. Uh, so if we do We already have a star. We can do a what? Then we can do expect. I guess this employee, like sometimes stuff gets a little repetitive, but this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The star movies to include star movie. And that will fail. Cool. Because the star ID is nil.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right, comma, star ID. No, wait. Yeah, star ID.
Yep.
Star.id. Cool. All right, so we have passing test now. And I think now the test suite might have all passing tests at this moment.
Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, that's an awesome position to be in. So then we have actual functionality talking back between stars and movies. But I guess the next step, which we won't do tonight, but next step is actually adding in credits, that join table. So that way, stars will have movies and movies will have stars, but movies will also have credits, I think. So we'll have to architect that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, actually, we're in a really good position to actually start getting some functional code in here. I think the next step also would be like starting to figure out how we're going to talk to Nokagiri to be able to imagine if you just search, like if you wanted to type in a command and say like movie.search, have a method, and I can expect that to return, if we did like that movie, Jaws.
Yeah.
We expect it to return a list of actors, or we expect it to return a movie object, basically.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think that would probably be better functionality. So if we do movie.search, we expect like an object to come back, Jaws, and then we would like set whatever. So we at the moment we have what title, year, and rating. Yeah, we can just stick with that. But we probably, oh, that's right, that's the thing. Yeah, title, year, and rating, and stars. But stars, we'd probably just have many stars through credits. That's not the right syntax, but like something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We would have to switch it up. Now that we have passing tests, we'll be able to switch it up and know when stuff's broken and stuff like that. So that'd be good.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Let me. I'm gonna stop the video. That was actually pretty productive. I'm actually looking forward to the next step.
Yeah, it'll be good.